Hey there, so I want to hop on here real quick, create this video because I want to share gentle classical nature if you are new here and you may be doing one of two things right now. You may be having amazing weather. Hey ladies, thanks for hopping on. You may be having amazing weather like we are. I know you see the sun shining. It's like 72 degrees outside. Everyone's cutting their grass for the first time, which I know some of you are probably like, cutting your grass? Like, I have inches and inches or feet of snow in my yard. How are you cutting your grass? But like, our grass was already overdue. So it's crazy. I know not everyone is ready to already be outside doing nature study like we are, but you may be if you're in the Southeast like we are, or you may already be planning ahead. What do I want to do when the spring actually gets here and we're able to get outside? So last year we released the second volume of Nature, and there's been a little bit of confusion about volume 2 of Nature, and I just am doing this video very impromptu, so the only Nature I have with me is Nature 1 right now, but I wanted to just answer some questions about our Nature program in general. If you're wanting something to help kind of encourage you and make it easier to make your outside time like a time of learning, which we don't really need that much to make that happen anyway. But I wanted to help kind of answer the questions between like Nature 1 and Nature 2. So both Nature programs are laid out exactly the same way. They have two facets. They have nature that is in my backyard and then nature that may not be in my backyard. And so in the United States, or really in North America, Nature 1 is going to fit, it's going to align with the backyards of probably 80 some odd % of us, if not more than that. And then there are all the people whose the coastlines are their backyard. But obviously we have a large country, so there's more people living in the middle of it and throughout it in those areas than actually who live on a coast. So some of the confusion has been that, oh, I can't do Nature 2 because I don't live at the beach or I don't have easy access to the beach, so we can't study that. So I wanted to help you guys understand how all of these nature programs, and we are working on volume 3 and we already have a plan for volume 4, about how you can utilize it as an actual nature study in your backyard, even if your backyard is a desert or a frozen tundra, no matter what it is, okay? So the two parts of the nature program, the first part is the nature topic. And that is what each unit is about. And that is how we name and theme them. So our nature topic for Nature 1 may be dragonflies or other kinds of arthropods, amphibians, deciduous trees, oh gosh, bees, butterflies, all these kind of things. Like, they're your very classic ideal. Like, when you think of nature study, most of us are going to think about studying those types of things. Those are the nature topics for Nature 1. And so most of us are like, well, yeah, that is in my backyard. I can study that. And so Nature 1's kind of a given. And then Nature 2 is all about water, or all about shorelines and oceans. So most of us, even though some of us do have access to the beach, or we may have, you know, orcas in our backyard if you are fortunate enough to live on the coast, a lot of people think, well, I don't have that, so I can't study it. So that is not how our programs are created at all, because we do have an in your backyard focus, and that would be what we call the attainments. And these attainments come from Charlotte Mason's Attainments for a Child of 6. And she calls them formidable attainments for a child of 6. So they are formidable, which means that 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, there's adults that have not attained the attainments. I certainly had not, even prior to writing the programs. Once I learned about the attainments, I was like, oh shoot, I can't check those. I'm going to learn those myself. And so the attainments are very broad. They're not just for a child of 6. A child of 6 might be when you would like start to focus on them. But these are the trees, the flowers, in the birds in your backyard. So every unit we have at the bottom of the page attainments. So we have this thing called a walk view, and I need to do a video just about walk view and that whole thing. So I'm not going to get into what the walk view is, but in one of her attainments, it talks about a child having 3 walks and views in 3 bodies of water that they're very familiar with, that if they close their eyes and they think about it 30 years later, it's as if they're there. They've spent that much time and they've studied it that deeply. That's what our walk view in our body of water is. And then body of water could be like a fountain. You just have to use what you have near you. And then you have a term project. So in nature one, we do butterflies, ant farm, and something else that is escaping my brain at the second. I should have refreshed my memory. It's been a year and a half since we've used it. And then we do our recitations of nature poetry and handicraft, but then we also have our wildflower. Now, the difference between attainments here in Volume 1 and Volume 2 is that in Volume 1, we do give you specific flowers, specific trees, and specific birds to look for. And I did a ton of research, and I found birds, trees, and flowers that are in 90+% of the backyards in North America. Things like starlings and crows and I think maybe a cardinal or black-eyed Susans, and just flowers and plants and trees that are pretty much everywhere. But then we also give you a lot of guidance about finding something in that general family if you don't have that one, because the point is that your child would know what is in their backyard, not what's in my backyard here in Alabama. So I try to keep that very, very broad. So when we went into Volume 2, because I used all of the most general ones in Volume 1, we actually shifted and started doing based on tree family, flower color, and bird family. And so you may not have crows, the American crow, in your backyard, but you might have something in the general like raven family, or in the jay family, or in the nuthatch family. And so we give you the resources in the book, in the student notebook, that shows you like, here's all that you would find in this family. This is how to tell this fir from this cedar from this whatever else, spruce. Like, here's how to tell those all apart. So we give you that in the student notebook. So you do not need to be able to identify a tree type before you use the nature program. That's very important for you to know as well. So so do you need to live by the ocean to use Nature 2? And the answer to that is absolutely not, because you're going to, via the attainments, study plants and birds that are in your backyard, plus go on walks and do all kinds of things that you would want to do in your local area. And then also you have a separate unit topic where you're going to learn more about and explore through videos and hands-on activities and maybe even museums in your area, plus the content that's in our student notebooks and is in all of the living books and everything that we provide. You'll learn about crustaceans and all of those things. And then one day, if you're like super far from the beach and you don't have a beach family, maybe you'll make a special trip, if that's possible, in order to get to see those things in person. But I just like to remind families, like, we also in North America do not have lions and zebras and kangaroos, but we still learn about those animals because it's fun and they're cool and they're different. And so I want everyone to understand, like, you can use Nature Volume 2 without living near the ocean, because you have the backyard aspect and then the unit aspect. So let me know if you do have any questions about that. Some people don't do the attainments. They only use the unit focus as if it's like just a normal science program about a specific area of biology or botany or whatnot. Or zoology. And then some people just focus on the attainments. They don't use the units. And then, of course, it was written to use both of them and give you a really full 2 week of nature study / science, because it's definitely a science program. These teacher's guides are this whole thing here that shows everything that's covered in the 18 units of Nature 1 and Nature 2. Those are free in our shop, shopgentleclassical.com. Go to free stuff. There's the teacher's guides. Download them for free. You can definitely, and it was designed to use these alongside Primer, which is our kindergarten program. They're absolutely standalone. Some people use them as their entire curriculum and just add in reading and math because there's so much meat. But make sure you know that it's a buffet. Pick from the buffet. You don't have to do the whole program. You get to kind of flexibly make it fit your family. And then, so looking for, do you need to use Nature Volume 1 before you do Nature Volume 2? Do you need to do inland waterways and forests before you work on shorelines and oceans? And the answer is no. They do not build upon one another. So you can do whichever one, like if you're wanting to focus more on backyard type forest things in addition to your attainments, then you use Nature 1. If you want to learn more about shorelines and ocean, animals and biomes and stuff, then you'll want to use Nature 2 because you'll still get to do those attainment, those backyard things, regardless of which one you do, if that makes sense. And then we are working on Nature Volume 3, which is down on the farm. And that may sound very early elementary, but we're actually taking like a lot of pains to make it a genuinely agricultural science program. I think we may have even added, where is there planning and grid schedule in nature? There is not a planning and grid schedule in nature. So I am not a grid person. You do find those in some of our programs, but that's not how my brain works. So anytime you find one, it's because I died to myself and then made one for you. I have not died to myself and made one in nature, but there is plenty of scheduling guidance in nature. So it tells you these are the different pieces. Here is how we use it. Here is a blank planning sheet. There is a blank planning sheet, and then do what you need to do. If you look in the front of the student notebook, there is a day-by-day breakdown of what to do in the student notebook. So because every unit is the same, you're just different material, you just read, do the student notebook page, do your nature walks, those types of things. So all that's broken down, and you just repeat that over and over and over again. And it does seem a little intimidating maybe to begin with, but if you'll follow the suggested schedule for a week or two, then you can begin to tweak that yourself and say, well, this isn't quite enough. I'm going to add more of the activities, or maybe this is a little bit much and we're not enjoying this one aspect, so you drop that part out of it and you really make it fit your own. But in the beginning, there is an entire, it is a sample schedule. Right here we have the morning basket schedule, which includes some pieces of nature and then some pieces of primer or morning virtue, whatever, kind of like other type program that you're using. We would include some of our nature stuff in our morning basket. And then the 4-day, 2-week schedule, we tell you what to do day 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you just do that over and over and over again. And so we also have planning sheets. So that's how we have it done. I'm sure one day we will come back and add grids to everything, but it will have to be when I have staff of some sort that does those types of things for me, because it's just a super repetitious thing to create. But anyway, so we are working on level 3, which is going to be all about agriculture and homesteading. Do you need to live on a farm or be near a farm or be a homesteader in order to learn about how plants grow and chicken genetics, which is the most crazy complicated thing in the world? There's so much meaty material that's all about our food system that's so important for all of us to know because we all eat, that it's a fantastic way to learn about those things. But then you still have the attainments aspect, which allows you to focus on learning trees, birds, and your area, your bodies of water, or your not, if you live in a desert, you're not bodies of water. Whatever you have to learn, you still have that ability, but then we're also going to be learning about animals and systems and parts of the food system and just all that type of agricultural science information that's going to be meaty. And then the next one after that will be an earth science / astronomy type program, where again we're still focusing on what's in our backyard, but then at the same time we have the opportunity to dive into some meaty science about earth science and all of God's creation here on earth and out into outer space. I will tell you that Nature 1 and 2 are fundamentally geared toward the kindergarten through second grade age range when it comes to what we're focusing on. And then inside of it, there are level 1, 2, and 3. So a level 1 student is like preschool through first grade. Level 2 is second and third and fourth. And then we have level 3 after that. And we've not focused a lot on level 3 students or the level 3 notebooks for volume 1 and 2 yet. That's just something that we're just not to that point yet. But once we get done with volume 3 and 4, we will circle back and add that more advanced upper elementary and middle school notebooking process that will be a lot richer and deeper for those students. But as we develop volume 3 and 4, we are going to go ahead and do the level 3 because those programs inherently will actually be a little bit meatier content. So you're going to want to use Nature 1 and 2 in the earlier parts of elementary, and then Nature 3 like in the middle, and then Nature 4 in your upper parts of elementary. So in that way, even though 1 and 2 are very interchangeable, 3 and 4 will kind of grow with all of our kids that started out with gentle classical in the preschool years, and they're all going up right now. We like to say that volume 1 is kind of a very good alignment to primer, and then volume 2 is a very good alignment to sequence 1, and so volume 3 is going to be a very good alignment to sequence 2 and 3, and then volume 4 will be a good alignment to sequence 4. So I know that's like a ton of information. If you're new to gentle classical, you're like, what did you just say? Like, what are you talking about? You can always email us and we will be happy to explain it and break it down to tell you what you need for your family. So if you want to say, I have this, this, and this is what I'm hoping to accomplish, what in the world do I need? Whitney is happy to answer those questions for you. She knows gentle classical backwards and forwards, and she has a master's degree in curriculum. So she is the curriculum lady. So you can send us a DM and she will answer you, or you can email her at curriculumhelp@lifeabundantlyblog.com. So anyway, I hope that helped you to understand the differences between Nature 1 and Nature 2. The heart of the Nature program is not just to kind of blend Charlotte Mason's principles with some of the aspects of a classical approach, but it's also to just make you have like an open and go type Nature program. And I know without that grid, the first week does not feel open and go. But if you follow along with us on YouTube and maybe even here on Instagram, I'm not sure if the older videos are still here, but we do help you to walk through what it looks like to plan a week of nature, and then to organize your materials. And there is a Nature 1 bundle video that walks you through. So what you get with Nature 1 is the same as what you get with Nature 2 is the same. It's all the same kind of materials. It's just different content in that material. And then, so we try to hold hands and walk you through it as much as possible. You can download the teacher's guides for free and compare the two volumes if you want to kind of get a feel of their differences and similarities. And then we have big free samples of them on our blog at lifeabundantlyblog.com. You can just search Nature 1 or Nature 2 and you can find samples. And then if you need help with that, you can send us a DM and we'll get you a link. And then I'm trying to think of what else. So we want you to be really, really familiar with the programs before you invest into them at all. But we want you to know that they're meant to be a guide and a suggestion. So we give you a book menu and we give you an activity menu. And then we give you a few different memory statements with different levels of vocabulary for your different age children. We provide you with both French and Spanish terms. We give you the week by week, here's what to do for your attainments, because we want it all broken down, but we want you to have flexibility too. And so there is not that there are decisions to be made, but once you make your decisions about what part of the program you want to use, then you're really smooth sailing after that. You just repeat that 4-day schedule over and over and over again. So you're reading a read aloud, and then you have a special book for that unit, and then you have some memory statements that you recite, and you have some poetry that you recite, and you go on a nature walk at least once a week, and you look for a bird, or you look for a tree, or you just go and see what you can find and then identify it, record it in your nature collection notebook, review those so your children remember them, and use our flashcards if you want them to learn French or Spanish. So there's a lot of material there, but it's meant to be very customizable for you. But we do know that can be overwhelming. So we do want to answer your questions, and video is our goal for 2023, which is why you're going to see my face on Instagram and our Gentle Classical group as much as possible, and then even on YouTube, because I want to take as many opportunities as possible to break some of these things down. And you'll be seeing also some videos that give very detailed step-by-step instructions on things. Like, here it is, I'm going to show you exactly what to do, so that there's no more intimidation when it comes to these programs. But the goal with nature is that it's all inclusive. We give you the books, the activities, the printables, the copywork, the notebooking pages, the information, like the student notebooks read almost like a helpful textbook, and they also have old living book information already in there. So we try to make it just as encompassing, and this is all you need. You don't have to go find a bunch of printables to go along with the B's. We give you those. You don't have to come up with activities or crafts. We give you those. You don't have to find a good B book list. We're going to give you a book list of 20 books that you can pick from and see what's at your library. So we want to give you as much as we can in this one program, and don't let that overwhelm you, because you don't have to do every aspect of it, but we want you to be equipped so you don't have to spend any time digging around for other material to go with what you're wanting to do. You don't have to build out your own units. That's exactly what we did. It's basically 18 unit studies smashed together that are sequential and flow very well and give you all aspects, both nature science and then backyard nature. So I need to come up with a more concise way of saying that, but that's what you get for right now. So let me know if you have any questions. We're more than happy to answer them about what it is that you need. But our first step is to always say, please go to our shop and download our free teacher's guides. Download all of them. Just fill up your cart with free stuff. Go at it. And then read those and see if they don't begin to make a lot of sense. These programs are not open and go from the moment that you get them, but they are open and go once you invest maybe 45 minutes in reading the teacher's guide, getting yourself organized, then you're open and go for the rest of the year. And if you're curious what it means to be Gentle Classical and the heart behind our programs, I have created a YouTube video, and that is over on our YouTube channel. You can just search Gentle Classical on YouTube and you'll find us. And that kind of answers how all of our programs are structured and what all of their goals are in a unified and very concise way. So thank you if you jumped on here with me and you hung out for several minutes. I really appreciate it. Again, let us know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you again soon. I never know how to quit it. There we go. Okay.